They see that you're kind of on a journey, you know, that you're on a journey of self discovery, that you may be having some of your own sort of self realization that you're going through, right? A path that you may be walking yourself. And they see you going through that, right? Even though there is a connection between the two of you. Again, this King of Swords, I'm not saying for sure that they're being overly critical, but this is how you're seeing them, right? So we're talking about the energy that we're picking up from someone. And so seeing them in the position of King of Swords definitely makes me feel like you're seeing them as very much wanting to maintain authority, right? Control of the narrative, control of the way, the communication and the way, the rules of this interaction. Certainly that they are the ones who want to set the rules, right? Let's get right into how you guys see your relationship. So Scorpio, your person sees this relationship and their part in it as a finality. This is interesting, a 10 of Swords. They're seeing this as I do think they see your relationship with them or this connection they have with you as a possible end to a long term of misery. It could be that up until now, there's been a lot of ups and downs that they've gone through. And by being with you, they kind of see a new beginning because Ten of Swords is all about completion and the essence of a new start, a new you. Ten of Swords is certainly a new ego. And I think they find themselves having really been changed as a result of being with you or being connected to you, right? Not only is it an end to a long period of struggling for them, but they're a whole new individual now. And it could be that by dealing with you or by being with you in this union, they've really sort of come to a certain understanding about themselves. And they've really come to a place where they are no longer the same person they used to be, right? They've sort of risen out of the ashes of this conclusion here into a whole new individual. And I think a lot of that has to do with their interaction with you, right? They've learned a lot by being with you. Certainly, if they see you as resonating with the Hermit, it could very well be that they've learned a lot about their own sort of struggles by being with you. So this is an expansive relationship. You see the relationship and your part in it as the Fool. So for you also, this is a whole new sort of game. This is a whole new type of relationship. You definitely also are resonating with a certain degree of newness and a new type of relationship coming into your life. You definitely are resonating with the feeling of taking a leap of faith here with this individual. I think they see you and being with you as an end to a long period of struggle. And I think you see them and being with them in this relationship as a new adventure for you. Yet and still, there seems to be some growing pains here, right? There seem to be a little bit of, there's a connection there, but it seems to be like the two of you are learning a lot about each other by the impact that the other person is having on the other. Do you see what I mean? And so this is a real relationship or a real union of learning in a lot of ways, learning more about yourselves and who you are. Both of you, I think, are doing that. Let me pull some clarity cards. This is also feels to me like a relationship that may be on again, off again. It may not be a relationship that is absolutely sort of committed, living together and yada yada. You know what I mean? This definitely feels like, it feels like a soulmate connection in the sense that, yes, you guys are indeed meant to be together and meant to impact each other. But the impact that you're having on each other is so much more far reaching than just what we would consider I want to say a romantic connection, right? It's more than just, you know, loving each other and enjoying each other. This relationship or this connection is definitely a real soul exploring connection, you know, where both of you are learning a lot about yourselves through being with the other. The passion, I believe, is there. But again, there definitely is some growing pain here. And there definitely is, a feeling that you guys haven't quite just figured out each other's roles, like in this connection, right? Because you're both kind of on a singular path. They see you on a spiritual path. You see them going through a spirit, you know, a realization, certainly a spiritual sort of path to a certain degree as well, with that Nine of Wands and Ten of Swords, certainly. All right, guys. So they have Queen of Pentacles and Three of Cups. Okay, and you have Eight of Swords. Wow, and the Hermit again. Okay, so yeah, this is very interesting. This almost feels like a connection that you have with someone where perhaps you guys were friends for a very long time. The soulmate connection is definitely one where you are both not necessarily what the other person is used to, right? As far as the type of person you would, you know, classically date or be with. But the friendship is definitely there. Your person, let's start with their clarifiers. It's interesting, Hermit would come out on your side and they see you as the Hermit. That's very, very telling. Okay, Scorpio, on their side, they have Queen of Cups and Three of Cups. So absolutely, they are extremely independent. Right? They are extremely ambitious. This person that you're dealing with is someone who is very much right now on the path of sort of trying to accomplish great things with regard to their career, their business. Again, like I said, they're very independent, very ambitious. And right now, their only baby, or the only thing that they're really wanting to pour all of their emotions into, is their career. That's what the Queen of Pentacles is all about. She's really all about putting her emotions and her blood, sweat, and tears into manifesting her material goals, her career goals, her business goals. Three of Cups indicates a high level of abundance and bonding and loyalty amongst friends. So this is, again, a reason why I feel like you two maybe started off as very good friends. You may have been friends for a very long time. And there is a love connection here. But they certainly are not necessarily the type of person who wants to be locked down into a committed one-on-one relationship. Right? They see this union as definitely impacting them, but they have a very, very independent outlook. They may have a very progressive outlook with regard to relationships in the first place. You may indeed be dealing with someone, Scorpio, who isn't necessarily the marrying type. You know, they may be the type that really still continues to enjoy that freedom of dating and being around others, and you know what I mean? Just, I would imagine this is the type of person who has no problem, you know, like having friends with benefits or things of that nature. They enjoy their sort of loyalty and bonding that they have with their social group almost more than they would necessarily having just one connection with one person. You know, but nevertheless, there is, and I think that this is a lot more to do with the type of person that they are. You may be dealing with somebody who is just classically a very independent person by nature anyway. You know what I mean? They certainly maintain their friend groups around you. They certainly maintain their loyalties with their friends and their wider social circle. And I'm not really sure how you feel about that, but you certainly, I think to a certain degree, you're not all the way on board with that per se, because when we get back to the King of Swords, I think that, again, I get back to this idea that to a certain degree, you feel, Scorpio, like they make the rules, right? They're making the rules. They're setting, you know, the tone. And the tone does not necessarily mean that they are only going to be with you. And I'm not sure that you're ultimately all that happy with that. Now, Eight of Swords. This being said, there is still a strong connection here, because the World card still talks about this being a very fated and destined connection. Now, you're resonating with Eight of Swords and a Hermit. Well, that's a real feeling of toxicity here. Eight of Swords is a real feeling of being victimized, being forced into a corner, not really being in control of your decisions. And I'm not surprised that you are resonating with the Strength card now, because Strength does talk about sort of not falling prey to your emotional sort of side. Yet they are bringing that out, because Eight of Swords is It's a feeling, certainly. A lot of times it can be an extreme toxicity. You know, this can be the gaslighter or someone who always plays the victim. But I think right here, I don't think that this is you. I don't think you're gaslighting anyone, Scorpio. But I do feel like, to a certain degree, the type of person they are, it's like it's putting you through the ringer. You know what I mean? It's like you feel for them, you care for them, they care for you, but because they are so fiercely independent and so all about doing their own thing to a certain degree, you know, the emotional ups and downs with this individual are quite heavy. You know, one minute you can't stand them, the next minute you can't get enough of them. And I think a lot of it is, for you, Scorpio, it's a feeling that they're putting you through this, right? They're sort of playing. I think you think that they're playing with your heart a little bit, right? Or that just the type of person they are is having an impact on you, because you're having to sort of one minute share them with the rest of the world, and then the next minute they may seem very committed to you, but you know, this is all part of that sort of free spirit attitude that they have. And to a certain degree, the impact that that's having on you is really one of, you know, not being sure what's going on one minute to the next, right? Feeling like maybe you have to put some boundaries in place so that they don't continue to sort of inadvertently hurt your feelings, you know what I mean? It just feels like a real sort of back and forth, you know, a real chaotic up and down sort of emotional thing with this person, right? And there's the Hermit again. So, you know, you are sort of, I think what happens is that when they're doing their independent dance, right, it's like you pull away. It's like you're like, well, look, I'm going to pull away and do my own thing. I'm going to get into myself. I'm not going to get sort of pulled into this emotionally. And they see that because they see you as the Hermit, but you're certainly resonating with the Hermit of your own accord. And I think that this is what it does to you being with this individual. I think this week, though, is a real week where this relationship is going to be highlighted. And again, I think that this could certainly be a relationship that is very much on again, off again. I almost say, like, it could be one of these relationships, Scorpio, where even when you guys are off again, you both would, you know, if somebody were to ask you and nobody was listening and you were telling them the truth, you would say, well, I'm still so crazy in love with them. And they would say the same thing about you, right? But that doesn't mean that you're going to be together. That doesn't mean that you're going to run towards each other, because just as independent as they are, Scorpio, you are a fierce sign to deal with. You have your own independence. You have your own sense of purpose and intention, and you're just not going to be one of these signs that's pulled around. So you refuse to be sort of pulled into it. You know what I mean? So you definitely will get into your Hermit and pull away and say, well, look, I can live without you. But the truth of the matter is that you two inevitably are drawn to each other over and over again. And there's a real feeling of a destiny here between the two of you. It just feels like you're going to have to really work out what this means. Like, are you both able to handle each other? You know, are you able to handle the fact that they're not always going to be there the way you want them to? And are they going to be able to handle the fact that, you know, you don't always need them? Right? When they start to get up to their shenanigans, you will absolutely walk away and do your own thing. And I think these are two sort of sides of that independence that you both have, that you almost have to both like accept and deal with. You know, let me pull out these angel cards for you. Messages. Forgiving and learning. There we go. So this is a real understanding and forgiving and learning about each other. And worth waiting for. Well, there you go. This is a real learning curve. Yes, it is a learning curve for the both of you. Understanding what the other person needs. And this is a real feeling of, I would almost say like a Four of Wands feeling, in a sense that if, you know, you guys have everything that it takes to be a great sort of union, but you have to have that mutual respect and understanding for each other. You're going to have to learn to accept and understand how their sort of nature, and they have to learn to accept and understand that they're not always going to get what they want, right? And that they also have to put up with your sort of need to protect yourself and to be on your own when you need to. Nevertheless, this union is definitely something that is worth waiting for. It's worth waiting in the sense of worth worth waiting to see if it can work out, worth waiting to see if learning about each other and forgiving each other is the thing that's going to bring you guys ultimately together with mutual understanding. All right, guys, I am going to leave it at that, Scorpio. This is a very specific reading for Scorpio who's dealing with someone. I'm going to say you two are very much in love with each other, but you are both such strong sort of personalities and characters that you're both very much having to sort of accept that about each other. And certainly this is a real sort of learning curve about what it's like to be with somebody who's just as strong and independent as yourself, but has different needs, right? And you both really needing to understand that ultimately, if you can come together with that mutual respect, understanding, and at least be on the same page, this is absolutely a relationship that is worth waiting for, because I don't think that either of you, you know, both of you are sort of each other's match. Right. And I think this is one of the reasons why this is such a different experience. I think that your person has probably been dealing with somebody who hasn't really been their match, and you've been dealing with people who have been very easy and not really your match, haven't really inspired you. Now that you guys have kind of met each other and met each other's match within this union, you know, nobody said it was going to be easy, but it's kind of worth it because, you know, you're both so similar and so different at the same time that coming together could be a really, really incredible relationship if you just work out these kinks and get on the same page. All right, guys, this is it, Scorpio, your love outlook for March 1st to the 8th. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it resonated with you. If it did, please like, subscribe, and share, all of that good stuff. But for right now, Scorpio, have a wonderful week, and I'll see you next week for your love outlook. Bye-bye now.